But it all started from me having to talk to people, which ultimately got me to the point where I'm at here today. Because getting in the stores that I'm in now, like currently I'm in 200 plus locations throughout America, right? And most of that is all from going door to door, like talking to store owners directly. And if I didn't learn that lesson in the beginning about talking to people and getting out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't be in no stores.
Welcome back to another episode of the True Authentics Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah Foster, and today we have a very special guest for a very special episode. And today's episode is about how being uncomfortable can shift your life up to success and how you can be different from when you start to from when you finish. Let's dive in.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much, brother.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Tahj Lewis. And I just want to tell you guys that this is my very first interview. I was telling Tahj that this is my very first podcast interview. I'm very nervous. You know, he was telling me this is just a conversation, but I just want to go ahead and say how very uncomfortable I am already in this episode. And this episode is about just being uncomfortable, diving into just new things in life and just new challenges to help you shift who you are. And of course, just being a whole different person from when you start to when you finish. And Tahj, I just want to say that just seeing your whole process from when I first met you to now, I can really say that I can tell just from a distance that you changed. I kind of want to just ask, what was the background? How did you really start? What made you say, oh, let me get out of this comfort zone?
Right. Yeah. No, the first part about this whole thing, you started off about the comfort zone, bruh. That had been the first lesson that I learned, right?
Mm-hmm.
People be saying, like, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable,
mm-hmm.
right? And I see you got all these books in this room, and many of these books talk about being comfortable, with being uncomfortable. And that's a hard thing to do because we think that, we feel good. And if we feel good, we feel like we're growing or we're doing better in life. But most of the time, when we're uncomfortable, right, that's where the true growth is. But when we're comfortable, you're stagnant, you're complacent. And as I was growing up and doing different things, I hated feeling complacent and feeling like I'm not going anywhere in life.
Yeah.
Like doing the same thing, repeat. And like I'm 25 now, just turned 25. But like when I was in high school, like just going to school, I was running track at the time as well. And track was a huge part of my life. And just the mundane of like going to school, going to practice like day after day after day, and then you watch your peers, your family members do the same thing. Like, It gotta be something more. Like, why we ain't doing nothing different? Like and yes, it is a process. But if I'm always feeling comfortable with everything's going on, and there's no like, not challenges, but it's nothing new. It's nothing, no breakthroughs. Then it's like, what are we doing? This can't be all the life. But that's all I saw. That's all I saw growing up was just the same thing, nothing really new. And I knew that I wanted something new.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what made you say, all right, forget this. I just want to have a different course in my life. I want to have different challenges. I just want to see a different me.
Right.
What made you, for example, what's the secret in the sauce? Like, what's the secret in the sauce? If y'all don't know, first time I tried this sauce, I was like, Taya, this is my sister. I was like, Taya, and I'm very picky, very I don't try nothing. I'm very picky. I was like, Taya, I said, Tahj's sauce is like this. This is banging. And if y'all didn't know, Tahj actually took over his aunt's sauce, and that. Ever since then, I would say, also, he does coding on the side if y'all didn't know. So if y'all have like a little app y'all want to run or a little business, hit him up. But just the sauce alone and how he's been able to get his aunt's just recipe out there, like the secrets in the sauce from you just being uncomfortable. What made you say, okay, let me actually go out there and do something for myself?
Facts.
Let me not see the same thing. Let me see a different result.
Yeah, so let's build up. So like let's fast forward through high school. And I went to college, right? And I was blessed with the opportunity to get a full ride academic scholarship.
Okay.
So I got to school. I was debt free from the jump. And I was able to run track and field at the team as well. So my freshman year, I'm talking about I was slam packed. I was on school. I was on the track. Like everything was new, and I felt so good. But within that same year, my aunt passed away, right? And it was so tragic because literally 6 months prior, I made her a promise that I would turn her sauce into a business. Oh, wow. So I literally, bro, went to her crib before I was leaving, saying bye to all my peoples. And I said, Auntie, when I go to Virginia Tech, they not going to have this sauce. Like, where can I get the sauce from? And she told me she made it. And I was like, ain't no way you've been making this my entire life and I don't know. Like, it's not real. So when she told me that, like, I never even heard the term entrepreneur, didn't know how to start a business, knowing my family started a business. So, like, I just said, like, once I graduate, I'm going to do it. I'm going to turn it into a business. And it had to been my spirit, bro, because nothing in me like that was, I never said those words before about like starting a business or anything, but I just knew like I love this sauce and this should be out there. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what step to take, like nothing, but I just said I was going to do it. But then 6 months she comes in and they tell me like, your aunt has passed. And I'm like, ain't no way. Like that right there hit me with reality. Like I was already like trying to get acclimated to school, to track, and then my aunt passed away, which was a big part of my life, like the person that really raised me. And from there, bro, I said, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So that passing, that lack and that missing of my aunt made me take the ambition and be like, I'm gonna start this business. It was definitely the trigger, and that was like November of 2018, October of 2018. So like I'm fresh out of high school. I graduated in May 2018. So, I was already like, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So when it comes to stepping out of your comfort zone, what were the highlight key things that helped you stay out of it? Like when it comes to getting your aunt's sauce, what were the main key goals of stepping out of your comfort zone? Like what were the first things you had to do, and how did it make you feel when it comes to you stepping out? Yeah,
that's a really great question, bro. So to answer that question, honestly, like I had to be comfortable with knowing that I don't know what I'm doing, like nothing. And I had to ask questions to different people. And sometimes I'm speaking personally, right? When I don't know about something or I feel ignorant, I don't want to ask, I feel stupid. But I had to let that go. I had to let that part of me, that ego, die. I had to crucify that part of me. And every step of the way, I learned from different people through trial and error, right? Some of it was smooth, some of it won't smooth. For instance, like when you create a product, right? And anything you build has a process, right? This process is different than building a different business, but it's still a process. But the first process was creating a nutritional panel. The facts panel, right? This is what you tell people what's in the product of the sauce, right? I don't know how to build no dang on nutritional panel. For the first 2 years, I was making the sauce without a recipe. I was over here going off taste and trying to figure it out and just making it, it was almost different every single time to make the sauce. But like after time and time again, I was finally get to a conclusion. I met different people that helped me along the way to get the nutritional panel, but it all started from me having to talk to people, which ultimately got me to the point where I'm at here today. Because getting in the stores that I'm in now, like currently I'm in 200 plus locations throughout America, right? And most of that is all from going door to door, like talking to store owners directly. And if I didn't learn that lesson in the beginning about talking to people and getting out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't be in no stores. Out of all those stores I've been in, probably like 3 of those stores hit me up and say, I want your sauce in my store.
So you say 200 and...
About 200 plus, just
200
about.
Plus stores.
And it fluctuates. Like some people drop off, some people stay, but like we hit a milestone of 200 stores.
Okay, so with you having sauce over the United States 200 stores, let's talk about how you were able to travel the world with the sauce. How you were able to. A lot of people would like to be comfortable, however they want to see the world, but they have to understand that even when you're seeing the world, you're already uncomfortable in a different environment. So I want to really talk about how you were able to just see the world and just the things that you took in from being uncomfortable into, like what are the things that you learned within going to Thailand, going to Japan. Like, he's been in these places off of just being uncomfortable already. Now, I really just want to dive deep into, you're already in a whole new environment where it helped you just have that hunger for more when you're even more uncomfortable, especially in a whole different area.
Hey, you cooking with these questions.
Appreciate it.
I think it didn't happen overnight, right? Like, I was building that before I even took my trip to overseas to Asia. I was doing the things that may be uncomfortable for 2 years constantly. I mean, every single day. I was doing things that made me feel uncomfortable, talking to people, getting rejected, having no's, going back to a store, getting new clients, like doing this day after day after day. And it built this tolerance. And then let's talk about the different type of people I meet, right? I'm not just talking to black people. I'm not just talking to white people. I'm not just talking to Asian people. Like, I'm talking to everyone. That got me this new cultural identity where, like, now I understand people as a unison, right? Not just one group of people. Now I done expanded my brand, my mind, my persona, my intellect by talking to these group of people, to the point now where when I went to Asia, it was like I got a little taste of that in America because we have some melting pots. But when I went over there, it was completely different because they have a different perspective on Americans, especially black Americans, right? Because there's not a lot of us out there. We don't really travel. And when they saw me, it was like, oh my gosh, like I felt like it was 1920 or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was some places where I went in Asia where, like, they never saw a black person before, you know? And when I was telling them some of the stuff that I was doing, they were just like, oh my gosh, because what they see of us is what they see in the media, right? Whether it's the comical movies, whether it's the music, that's what they see of us most of the time, right? So when they get a different perspective, you blow their whole mind frame. They don't even know what's going on or what's happening. And it's a beautiful thing because now you get a whole new perspective as well. Okay. So it definitely didn't happen overnight. Like, I got that hunger from doing it day and day after day.
Okay, so is there any tips and tricks that you have for those to where they want to try something new, they want to start that brand, they want to be a model, they want to just actually work for a job instead of just stay home, like just being uncomfortable? What tips do you have for those who just have that feeling of want to go get it, but they're afraid of just being uncomfortable? And
that's a normal thing to feel. Like, fear, love, like, they're all the same by 1 degree, right? All those emotions, and it's just a small change will shift the whole perspective. But it takes time and it takes baby steps. Like, everybody want to do everything in one go. They want to build the whole clothing brand in one day. They want to have the perfect merch. They want to have the perfect thing all in one day. And it doesn't happen like that. You got to take it bit by bit. It got to be step by step. And every single time you get frustrated, you got to take a step back. You're not giving up. And it's an art to not giving up. We talked about this earlier. And I was talking about this with a friend of mine earlier too. But, like, it is an art, and you have to give yourself grace. You can't beat yourself up. Even when it doesn't go your way, you got to take a step back and be like, look, I'm going to try again tomorrow. But the small wins add up so much, like, to the point where the big wins don't even matter as much, but the small wins do. Because those small wins add up. And if you get enough small wins, it's going to be a big win in the long term. So my answer is to that is just take your time, step by step, and just focus on the small. But have the big goal in mind, though.
Good. Appreciate it so much, Tahj. I really want to say that I'm really just happy and blessed and fortunate to have a living testament, especially on this podcast. Like I said earlier, when I was just thinking about this podcast, this episode, I was like, oh, Tahj, let me hit him up. I got my phone, I was like, let me hit him up, let me ask him, because just seeing the things that you've done and just knowing, like, somewhat personally who you are behind the scenes, stuff like that, just your aura, you know, like, just your aura, you're just a cool guy. Saw he pulled up, like, what's up, yo? Like, just very cool. And like I said before, like I told you, everybody that I bring in this interview, in this podcast, just, it's all it's about is that authentic mindset. And Tahj is one of a kind and many of kinds who have an authentic mindset and who is a living testimony, a living testament of doing what they should be doing by basically doing the things that only aligns with their true self. And he's just a result of what it is. Pulled up in a Jeep. I'm like, damn. Like,
not too much. Not too much.
Just, but yeah, I'm just very proud, very happy to have Tahj in here. And I really want to piggyback on what he's saying about being uncomfortable. When I first started, I was uncomfortable, but now it's like, like I'm very actually comfortable now just sitting here talking with you. And it's like we can keep going on for hours if possible, but it's like just really finding that level of uncomfort. You don't have to be uncomfortable all the time. Just 1% better each day. Grab a book if you want. Grab a book if you need to. Just take a walk outside. Go to the gym for at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Work out for 10 minutes. Just find something that helps you grow but will be uncomfortable for you. Because at the end of the day, like Tahj said, 1% better each day. And the small wins, the tiniest wins, I'd be more excited about the tiniest wins than the big wins. I'd be excited that I got up early, I'm writing in my journal, and that I'm doing the littlest things that's going to lead up to the result. And I'm expecting that result because I've been doing the littlest things.
Facts.
So with that being said, stay uncomfortable, but stay comfortable being uncomfortable. Stay true to who you are. Stay with that authentic mindset. Don't you dare forget about this sauce. Okay? Secrets in the sauce. Tahj, I really appreciate having you on this podcast. My very first interview. Mm-hmm. I actually will have something for you personally that when I get made, because I am very, very flattered and I appreciate it very much.
I appreciate you, bro.
But that's pretty much it, man. I'll catch y'all on the next episode.
All
Peace.
Right.